would have been the exclamation point on what's otherwise been a brilliant second for Indiana. Oh, and Whitcomb throws it in and beats.
The Indiana Fever's 2025 season has become one of the most electrifying stories in all of professional basketball journey, defined by grit, unity, breakout performances, viral chaos, and the kind of raw emotion that turns casual fans into diehards overnight. It began with the expected spotlight on rookie sensation Caitlin Clark, whose presence on the court electrified fans, elevated viewership, and made Indiana the team to watch. But everything shifted when Clark suffered a groin injury that forced her to the sidelines indefinitely, and just when critics started doubting the Fever's ability to win without her, the team responded with something more powerful than just resilience, identity. Rather than fall apart, they found new heroes, new chemistry, and a fire that even Clark herself would have applauded. The breakout star, none other than Australian forward Chloe Bibby, who came in on a 7-day hardship contract but played with the heart of a champion. In her short stint, she averaged 9 points per game with a deadly 50% shooting from beyond the arc, but it was her emotional 18-point explosion that truly lit the league on fire. Fans nicknamed her the Bibby Bomb, and Fever's coaching staff, led by Stephanie White, immediately locked her into a rest-of-season contract. Bibby didn't just earn a job, she earned a place in the hearts of Fever Nation, transforming from injury fill-in to cornerstone contributor almost overnight. Bibby became the unexpected spark that ignited Indiana's flame in the absence of their superstar. She played every minute with passion, energy, and a visible desire to prove she belonged, not as a replacement, but as a revelation. Her on-court hustle, clutch shooting, and relentless defense showed fans that the Fever were more than a one-woman show. Coach White publicly praised her as a true stretch four with elite toughness. And suddenly, Bibby jerseys started popping up in crowds. It was the kind of Cinderella moment that only sports can deliver, and it couldn't have come at a better time. Meanwhile, Indiana wasn't just staying afloat without Clark, they were dominating. Their most recent matchup against the Dallas Wings, for example, turned into a defining moment. Dallas had their own rising phenom in Paige Bueckers, who dropped 22 points and filled the box score with her usual brilliance. But even her star power couldn't prevent the Fever from storming to an 88-78 win behind superior rebounding, defensive hustle, and unshakable team unity. What made the victory sweeter? Dallas' own head coach, Chris Coughlin, sang Indiana's praises post-game, calling them tough, disciplined, and a team others should learn from. For a rival coach to admit that, especially after a loss, says everything about how dangerous this Fever squad has become. And if the Fever's dominant play wasn't enough to fill headlines, there's no shortage of drama off the court either. Perhaps the most viral moment in recent WNBA history occurred when a lime green sex toy was thrown onto the court during the Chicago Sky vs. Golden State Valkyries game for the second time in 1 week. The incident, shocking and bizarre, halted play and sent social media into a frenzy. Fans were stunned, players were disgusted, and Sophie Cunningham, who has become the unofficial voice of this Fever roster, was quick to speak up. "We're here to play ball, not dodge garbage," she told reporters. The repeated disruptions have raised questions about WNBA security, fan behavior, and league reputation. Ironically, however, these incidents are also pushing the league into mainstream attention. Every major outlet reported on it. TikTok exploded with reactions. Memes flooded the internet. And somehow, amidst the chaos, WNBA found itself being talked about more than ever before. While social media buzzed over toys on the court, another moment of unity quietly stole the hearts of Fever fans. Earlier in the season, when Caitlin Clark faced a barrage of criticism from jealous veterans, bitter media voices, and fans questioning her place as the face of the league, Sophie Cunningham stood up for her. "Anyone who says Caitlin isn't the face of the WNBA is dumb as F," she declared, earning both backlash and admiration. But the most powerful response came not from the media, but from Clark herself. One word, one tweet, grateful. That single word ignited an avalanche of support, uniting fans behind this duo and showing that while Clark was benched, she wasn't alone. Team chemistry in Indiana had officially gone next level, and it was real, raw, and impossible to fake. That chemistry was on full display when the Fever shocked the league by winning their first ever Commissioner's Cup title, defeating the Minnesota Lynx 74-59. And the crazy part, they did it without Caitlin Clark. It was Natasha Howard who stepped into the spotlight, dominating with a 16-point, 12-rebound double-double to claim MVP honors. Beside her, Aaliyah Boston proved again why she's the franchise's future, adding 12 points, 11 boards, and 6 assists. It wasn't just a win. It was a message, a statement, a declaration that Indiana was no longer just Caitlin's team. It was a full-force unit capable of beating anyone, anywhere, under any circumstances. The moment went viral, with post-game celebrations flooded across Instagram, ESPN, and WNBA Twitter. It was more than a trophy, it was legitimacy. But behind the glory lies concern. Coach White took the league to task for its brutal scheduling and lack of player protection. She pointed out that WNBA teams are averaging just 7 days of rest between games, a huge drop from previous years, and that the league's compact calendar is driving injuries and burnout. This isn't sustainable, she said. If we want this league to grow, we need to protect our players. Her comments came on the heels of not only Clark's injury but several others across the league, fueling debate about whether WNBA expansion and scheduling reform are now overdue. The league's success in growing its fan base must not come at the cost of its players' long-term health. And while these concerns loom large, Indiana continues to press forward, battered, but unbroken. Surprisingly, even without Caitlin Clark on the floor, viewership has skyrocketed. When the Fever faced off against the Chicago Sky, both Clark and Angel Reese were sidelined. Yet, the game pulled in 1.5 million average viewers on ABC, peaking at 1.7 million, making it the 6th most watched regular season WNBA game in history. That kind of number is unheard of in women's basketball, and it speaks to the cultural grip this Indiana team now has on the sport. Yes, Clark brought the spotlight, but the team kept it burning. Fans aren't just watching for Clark anymore, they're watching for Bibby's bombs, for Boston's brilliance, for Sophie's fire, and for Howard's dominance. The Fever have become more than a team, they've become an event. As the season pushes into its final stretch, the stakes have never been higher. Playoff positioning is on the line. Clark's potential return is still uncertain, but what is certain is that this Fever team, win or lose, has captured something rare in sports, the attention and hearts of a nation. Chloe Bibby's fairy tale, rise, Sophie Cunningham's unwavering loyalty, Natasha Howard's MVP-level resurgence, Aaliyah Boston's consistency, and a roster that has learned to fight like champions, even when their biggest star can only cheer from the bench. The Indiana Fever's 2025 season isn't just about games, it's about moments, about loyalty, about proving everyone wrong. It's about transforming doubt into dominance and setbacks into storylines. And when Caitlin Clark finally does return, whether that's next week, next month, or in the playoffs, she will be walking back into a locker room that doesn't just miss her, it's been forged in her absence. She won't be returning as the lone savior, but as the final piece of a unit that learned how to survive, thrive, and win without her. Her return won't reset the team, it will elevate it, because now, she's not carrying the franchise, she's joining it. And as every Fever fan knows, that's a scary thought for the rest of the WNBA.
Thomas gets inside. 2 more for Thomas.
Imagine losing your biggest star, the face of your franchise, right in the middle of a playoff push. Most teams would crumble under that kind of pressure, but not the Indiana Fever. When Caitlin Clark went down with a groin injury, the entire basketball world held its breath. She wasn't just a player. She was the reason thousands tuned in. The rookie phenom smashing viewership records and hitting logo threes like they were layups. But what happened next shocked everyone. Rather than spiraling into chaos, the Fever found themselves a team that had often lived in Caitlin's massive shadow suddenly began to shine on its own. It started with an unlikely hero, Chloe Bibby. Signed on a short-term hardship contract with little fanfare. Yet she delivered an 18-point game that set Gainbridge Fieldhouse on fire. Shooting 50% from beyond the arc and playing with unmatched intensity, Bibby didn't just fill in, she redefined what a role player could be. Coach Stephanie White, recognizing that spark, immediately secured her with a full season contract. Bibby became more than just a bench player, she became a symbol of resilience. Her hustle, grit, and heart helped inject life into the Fever lineup. It wasn't long before fans were chanting her name, and #BibbyBomb trended across social platforms. But it wasn't just Bibby. The entire squad stepped up. Aaliyah Boston turned into a double-double machine. Natasha Howard muscled her way into MVP conversations, and Sophie Cunningham brought the fire. both on and off the court. One of the turning points came during their epic clash with the Dallas Wings, a game that showcased not just individual talent but collective willpower. Paige Buchers was electric for Dallas, putting up 22 points, but Indiana responded as a team, out-rebounding, out-hustling, and ultimately outplaying the Wings. The Fever silenced critics with a powerful 88-78 win. Rival coach Chris Coughlins even praised them post-game, saying, "That's a great team to learn from." And through it all, Sophie Cunningham stood as the vocal leader, never shying away from the spotlight. When media criticism rained down on Caitlin Clark in June, Sophie said what many were thinking: anyone who says Caitlin isn't the face of the WNBA is dumb as F. Her raw honesty became a rallying cry for fans and teammates alike. Caitlin responded simply, "Grateful." That one-word tweet captured an unbreakable bond, but even as drama swirled around the league from wild fan incidents, like a lime green sex toy being thrown onto the court, to discussions about player safety, Indiana stayed focused. During the Commissioner's Cup, with Clark still sidelined, the Fever stunned the league by defeating the